Yes, it is Super Saturday. It's Toyota Park. This round 26 clash about to begin between the Cronulla Sharks and the Sydney Roosters. A preview of week one in the finals for both of these sides who will meet once again, no matter what the result here. Up for grabs today, though, is home ground advantage in that first week when 4 will play 5 of the NRL finals. And they should be pumped up for what should be a terrific clash here this afternoon. Plenty of motivation and momentum to take into that game next week for the winner, of course. They could be back here at Toyota Park. They could be at Aussie Stadium. Here's the Shark side, and there is just the one change in it, with Colin Best out of the side off the wing. Matthew Reek will take his place in 18. The bench is the same one that was named earlier in the week, and the coach is Chris Anderson. For the Roosters, they have a number of changes. Luke Phillips is out of the side for the rest of the season with a broken shoulder. Brett Mullins takes his place at fullback. Todd Byrne moves from the centres to the wing, and that takes Chris Flannery also from the second row into the centres. Adrian Morley comes into the run-on side, and Andrew Lomu is the addition on the bench. The coach is Ricky Stewart. A good crowd here, as you would expect, for this fourth plays fifth clash this afternoon. It is a twilight affair. It will start in daylight but finish under the lights here at Toyota Park. And they have come in their thousands to watch them go around. And the majority of them, of course, will be hoping to see them back here once again next week with the Sharks hosting the Roosters in that first game of the finals. The Roosters come out led by their captain, Brad Fittler. Brett Mullins right behind him. Now the fullback for the rest of the season, however long that is for the home team. But of course, the captain and 5'8" Brad Fittler sets the table for them.
Look, he's been a champion player for so long, Brad Fittler, and this season he's been in his best form. He's a dangerous player when he runs the football. The Roosters would be looking to him to lead the way here tonight. And if he can do that, I'm sure that will set up a victory to the Roosters.
His defence leading the way as well. And they get up very quickly to put pressure on the opposition kickers in that last month or so. It has been the way they've defended all season, up and in, trying to put as much pressure on the opposing team as possible. And Brett Kamali and friends will feel that heat tonight. David Peachey leads out the home team. A cool, calm and collected Peach who walks onto Toyota Park as the paper and the glitter floats across Toyota Park. And speaking of glitter, none shine brighter than this man in recent times, Brett Kamali.
It certainly will be a Dally M contender on Monday night. Look at that, 12 tries, try assists 19 and line breaks 15. He really is the architect of the attack for the Sharkies, and he has teamed up with Chris Anderson once again and really has been the catalyst for where the Sharks score their tries.
He will get us underway with the kick-off. The referee is Tim Mander. A big game, the first of several big games for this referee and the others in the weeks to come.
Is there a countdown?
The Sharks will defend the southern end of Toyota Park to get this one underway. And we have a countdown to get things underway this evening. We do have a kickoff as Tim Mander blows time on, a deep one as well from Brett Kamali. It came down to Flannery, who gives it off to Cusack, who was met and stopped in the combination of the tackle there by Graham and Bickerstaff. Here's Kalis as the ball is jolted loose from him by Beatty. Some heavy contact first up from the forwards as Hodges feeds it very quickly to Adrian Morley. Gets his chance in the run-on side tonight. That reshuffle with Flannery going to the centres. Here's Ricketson. It's been so good for them throughout 2002. Wing now, turning it back on the inside for Fittler.
Okay, last one.
Half a gap that was there closed very quickly. And now it's Benetti feeding it to wing. Under some pressure from Bickerstaff, but got a good kick away. Peachey, in fact, was waiting for it and hoping that Mellor will come in to take it. Now he's under pressure to make it back into the field of play, but they'll get a penalty.
10 metres, you're all in front of me.
Tim Mander finding the men out wide in Mullins and Fitzgibbon. Up inside the 10, they're in front of the kicker, as he heard him say. An interesting lorry to start this one. Brett Mullins playing on the left wing for the Roosters, and the man filling the fullback role at the moment is none other than Chris Flannery.
He's got plenty of versatility, Chris Flannery, and Mullins staying on the left wing. Flannery been playing in the back row of late, but he is such a good player of sniffing around to play the ball. Any offload that the Roosters do come up with, and Flannery will be there.
Bailey, a one-time Northern Eagle, met by a trio of Roosters there. Ricketson, Kalis and also Benetti. Here's Treaster ducking away from dummy half. He's been terrific in that role in the last month or so. Of course, they had the bye last week. Last time they went around, they were handsome winners here against the North Queensland Cowboys on a Saturday night. Flannery it is, bringing it back.
That's incredible, Laurie Daly, that Chris Flannery was picked in the second row, was going to go to the centres, and now he's the fullbacks. He certainly is a versatile player.
All you blokes in front of me.
The Sharks this time up inside the 10. Of course, Matthew Johns making his comeback after being out for more than a month with a shoulder and a neck problem due to a nerve injury. He will fill that role on the right-hand side of the defensive line for the Sharks as the Roosters tap it at the 30. And it's Cusack who takes him down towards the Sharks' red zone. Benetti in at dummy half. It comes to Wing, who goes back on the inside to Fitzgibbon. First real chance for either side to apply some pressure here as we approach the 3-minute gone mark. Here's Wing cutting back to the blind side. He'll open up something himself, met by Johns and also Beattie. Here's Cusack putting a little bit of a shake on. He went past Treaster within about 4 metres of the try line. Fittler dummies, goes himself. They wrap him up. Treaster was downstairs. Bickerstaff over the top. Here's Benetti. Wing was under plenty of pressure. They raced up off the line. Todd Byrne puts the grubber in, playing in the centres as he was listed to start in the centres. And the Sharks work it away.
And that's a great defensive set on your line, really getting up, putting pressure on the key players. Craig Wing was absolutely hammered by Jason Stevens. They got the result from the kick, and now they're working it off their own line.
They picked up Beattie and they're threatening to dump him heavily to the turf. Bickerstaff just launched himself at Kalis, who stopped him in a hurry. Johns gives it away. It comes to Bailey, who's racing downfield. He's wrapped up at the halfway line, grabbed by a fingernail there by Cusack. Kamali now. Kicking in behind Flannery, who has Minichello back there with him. Peachy up, leading the chase team, and he drags him down as well. Good result for the Sharks from the kick. It's a promising set of 6, which had Bailey almost away into open space down the right-hand side. Benetti gives it to Morley. He might have hurt Treaster here. He raised that knee as he went towards the defensive line, and now Benetti scampers for a gain of about 12 or 13 metres, and Treaster certainly copped the knock in trying to make that tackle on Morley. Here's Wing turning it back on the inside for Flannery. Treaster back to his feet as Benetti gets in a dummy half for the Roosters. And now Fittler from inside his own 40. He'll kick it down the middle of the park, right down the throat of Peachy. He just floats across the defensive line before he links up with Matthew Rink, who has been a fixture pretty much on the left-hand side for the Sharks throughout 2002.
He has, Warren, but the Roosters, the key for them tonight is after they've kicked the ball to have a good chase. Peachy loves to link with his wingers. The wingers do drop back deep on 4th and 5th tackle, so the Roosters may get some opportunities to run it.
Here's Treaster from dummy half. Quickly back on his feet after being left on the ground, attempting to make that tackle on Morley moments ago. Kamali, a flat pass. They're up very quickly, though. There's that charging defence from the Roosters. Fitzgibbon was there to meet him when he got the ball. Kamali high in the air. Flannery right up against the post. The ball bounces off its point. Luckily for the Roosters, over the dead ball line. Heart-stopping moment for the fill-in fullback for a moment there. He was floating back with the flight of the ball, which was holding up slightly in the breeze, and he ran into the post eventually, and luckily the ball didn't bounce off it. Here's Mullins taking it from dummy half, starting the game on that left wing. As you just saw, yet to be a mistake in the game. Both sides completion rate perfect. 4 from 4 is Fitzgibbon. Stopped downstairs by Treaster.
Sorry, Warren, I think tries will be hard to get tonight because both sides' defence has been absolutely superb. The Roosters have got the best defence in the league, and the Sharks, with their up and in defence that Chris Anderson likes to play, really offers no attacking opportunities for the Roosters.
Morley stopped just into Sharks territory. He might have been hurt here. He might have copped an accidental knee of Chris Beattie as he raced up to make the tackle, and Morley was falling to ground. He's concussed. He's trying to give the impression that he's not, but he's staggering back to his feet, and there it was. He just fell into the tackle awkwardly, and Beattie, coming in to make the tackle, caught him on the back of the head.
Yeah, I think you're correct there, Warren. Beattie coming in to make a big hit, and Morley just falling awkwardly and copping a knee off Chris Beattie. He wants to continue. The trainers are talking to him.
What I was impressed about, Laurie, was able to hold onto that ball too, not drop the ball.
Well, he's going to stay on the field for the moment. If you remember back, I'm sure it was Anzac Day against the Dragons, when the Roosters took them on at Aussie Stadium, and Morley was concussed a couple of times very heavily the second time on that day. Good tackle by Byrne on Peachy. As Reek works it away from dummy half. The Sharks camped inside their own 20 here. Johns giving it off. It's brought forward by Stevens. Well handled by this Roosters defence again. They're in numbers. Now Beattie takes his turn up. Kalis over the top. Downstairs was Benetti driving him backwards. Good ball from Kamali to Graham, who got in behind Hodges. Now it comes to Reek. He's got Fronze with him. Minicello in pursuit, can't pick him up. And it will be the Sharks who play from in front tonight.
Tremendous try that there by the Sharks. Looking to attack down the Roosters' right edge. And a wonderful ball by Brett Kamali. The Roosters are playing a very compressed defensive line. They get up and put a lot of pressure. And this time, Hodges, he was caught going in. A lovely dummy by Nick Graham. And then to hold it back the way he did, Reek. Lovely ball to Fronze. You thought Minicello was going to grab him here. He pulled out of the tackle, takes it across the line, puts it in under the post for the first 4-pointer of the night.
Laurie, great vision there by Brett Kamali, a wide pass there. Equally good ball skills by Nick Graham. Offloads the ball into Fronze. Of course, he's got support there. He's able to get the ball over the line, but terrific work. There's plenty of attacking opportunities, particularly in the fourth, fifth or sixth tackle, where the winger drops back, and certainly Kamali capitalised on that with that try. Paul Fronze, the first try scorer for the night.
The first time the Roosters have been scored against in the first half of the game for 3 rounds. The Dragons couldn't do it, neither could the Warriors, and Kamali adds the extra 2. And there's the Sharks, who after 9 minutes lead the Roosters 6 points to 0 here at Toyota.
It's a very impressive, fiery start. Defensive orientated both sides. Both sides looking for a chink in the armour. Kamali's have found that with some great vision. As I said before, he has been the architect of many tries for the Sharks. Great start for the Sharks here at Toyota Park.
The restart from Fitzgibbon comes down to Peachy. It's Beattie who'll bring it back, and as the Sharks work it away from inside their own end, they go to Treaster from dummy half, who scampers for a good gain once again. They're able to slow the ball down. Bailey take it up towards the 40-metre line, and now Kamali kicking from around about that mark, looking for the sideline. Flannery still posted there at fullback. Will have to work quickly now. He was hit high by Kamali. Got him right around the chin.
Yeah, I've got him, mate. Don't worry about that. Yeah, just 2 for 2. I know he's that far off the ground. Yeah, but you have hit him in the head. Okay, so we've got to whack it on report.
Here comes Flannery again, working it out from outside his in-goal area, and he was sliding as he tried to step off that left foot Brett Kamali got him around the side of the head with the forearm, but I don't think he'll have too much to worry about as far as the report goes.
I agree with you, Warren. It was a great kick and chase by Brett Kamali. Was a little bit too high, but I think everything should be okay by Monday night.
There's a ball popped out the back here. Benetti gets there to clean it up, and now Morley looks to have regained his senses, if you like. And Andy Raymond has spoken to the Roosters medical staff. You have a report on Morley, Andy?
Yeah, Warren, he certainly wasn't knocked out. It was a momentary stun. You're exactly on the money about that Anzac Day clash where he did get concussed a couple of times. And the Pommy is what you'd call a happy drunk when he gets concussed or knocked. All he wants to do is smile and tell jokes, and the hardest thing is getting him off the field and taking life seriously. He'll battle on, though.
He certainly didn't want to come from the field, that's for sure, as Fittler. It's the kick away here, angling it towards that corner post. Peachy loses his footing now as he brings it back out from his own end. And again, these sides are so well drilled. Good tackle here made by Morley on Matthew Reek as he was looking to find a way through that chase team, and it was a straight one right across the park. 12 of them with only Flannery behind. The Roosters had a perfect line right across the field.
And a lot of the games these days, Warren, come down to the battle at the play the ball. And when you've got two teams that love to dominate the tackle, quick play the balls, they play fairly flat in their attack, it becomes even more important. As Fittler takes the intercept off Kamali.
The flat line attack will come back to haunt the Sharks on this occasion, and Freddie will do a peach and place it down right in front of the dead ball line. He lives and dies by the flat pass, and this time it killed him.
Well, he set up one, give one away, Brett Kamali. You mentioned the flat line of attack. They are susceptible for intercepts. And the Roosters playing from outside in, and Kamali running the football. They know it's going to the runner in Bailey, and Fittler just gets himself in between Bailey and Kamali after he passes the football. Easy try, and Peachy-like puts it down.
Laurie, one of the liabilities of playing a flat attack like that is susceptible to intercept there, but the Roosters also, they like to step up off the line from the 10 metres. Of course, Brad Fittler was found there, the ball was there, scores the try, and a pretty handy place, 6-all.
Brad Fittler scores for the Roosters. Fitzgibbon converts at 6-all, and congratulations, Brad Fittler. He becomes the 35th player in the history of first-grade rugby league here to notch up 100 career tries. A tremendous feat, and a great snare as well to get up in amongst the Sharks' attack and pluck that one out of the air. Score under the post. Here's a short kickoff. They try to find the sideline from the restart. Morley brings it back. If you thought he was concussed, you can think again. He's been terrific since then. Here's Ricketson running at them as Beattie comes across the top. Treaster stopped him downstairs, and Beattie finished him off right around the shoulders. Here's a short ball from wing to Minicello. They get there in numbers again. There's a real intensity about this. The finals are a week away, but you wouldn't know it by the way this one started tonight. Cusack, once again, met by Treaster. Tracked up a heap of tackles already. Fittler with a chip in over the top. Peachy, though, got there on the fall. Oh, well, pop a pass to Mellor as well. That's super confidence from the fullback and captain. He's lost it, though. Here's a chance for the Roosters. Ricketson picks it up, and they wrap him up just outside the 20 as Jason Stevens comes from the field with a dislocated finger. Here's Fittler in front of the post, about 18 out. Oh, a badly cut finger as well. Problems there for Jason Stevens as Wing gives it on to Hodges. He's only 10 metres away. Chance for the Roosters to score back-to-back tries here. Here's Kalis looking to pop it to Wing, who was waiting for that offload. Benetti will get to dummy half. Only 3 tackles gone for the Roosters in this set. Here's Fittler. Second man ball for Flannery. Around the back of Fitzgibbon. He's cutting back on the inside. Still a couple of tackles left as Byrne works it down the short side to Mullins. They weren't waiting for it, and Mullins scores an easy one.
Well, that was just tremendous vision by Todd Byrne, a dummy half. That was caught on the short side, the Sharks. And Mullins calling for the football, and Byrne responded. Just a little play, but it came about by a turnover from the Sharks. Mellor just knocking the football out of his hands, or getting it knocked out of his hands. And then Johns just one out on the short side. Lovely play.
Laurie, the Sharks have really been on the back foot ever since that intercept. Great foresight there by Todd Byrne to see Mullins unmarked there. Scores the try. They take the lead. Difficult to convert this 4 into 6, but nevertheless, a good start by the Roosters.
Terrific start after giving up an early try to the Sharks. Mullins picks up number 12 for the year, takes him to 117 in his career, and he joins the likes of Ray Preston, who played for Newtown and Parramatta a long time ago, on the all-time try scorers list. Here's the conversion attempt from Fitzgibbon, and it almost went across the top of the flag on the upright. It hooked away to the left-hand side. The Roosters lead the Sharks 10-6 as we go downstairs to Andy Raymond.
And Warren, the Sharks are down to 16. Jason Stevens suffering a compound dislocation to his finger. And without going into the gory details, a compound dislocation is where the finger dislocates and it in fact goes through the skin. He will not be back tonight. A little bit of trivia for you. He also suffered that same injury in the opening minutes of the 93 grand final when he was playing for St George.
You're exactly right. In the second of those grand finals against the Broncos in 92 and 93. He barely played a couple of minutes in that one and watched on from the sideline from that point on. Of course, Craig Gower suffered a similar injury for the Panthers against Newcastle up at Marathon Stadium, or Energy Australia Stadium, some weeks ago, but that was to just the pinky finger, and Gower was able to finish off the game and miss only 1 week of football. Here's Wing taking it forward. That will be a real concern for Chris Anderson and the Sharks coaching staff, with the finals now just 6 days away for both of these sides. The kick from Fittler over the head of Peachy will just trickle over the dead ball line.
Got to give the Roosters a rap here, Warren and Laurie. They're just doing the simple things well. They're playing the ball quickly, getting good yardage from dummy half, doing some simple things there. Even that ball went dead, it gets the Roosters up there, putting pressure on the Sharks 25 metres out from their own line.
And out there is Nutley for the Sharks, taking the place of Stevens. He was hit pretty heavily as he brought the ball back from the 20 restart. Here's Beattie now, running at Bonetti. Fitzgibbon in there as well, with Jason Kalis. And he's lost the ball here. And Tim Mander says it's a penalty. It was ripped out, he says, on the advice of the touch judge. Jason Kalis, his leg got caught up with the arm and the ball there with Beattie. And the ball came loose. On the advice of Steve Nash, the touch judge, he blew a penalty. Nutley playing it for Treaster. Bailey takes it inside the 30. And the Sharks have hardly been down here apart from the time that Fonzie scored the opening try. Beattie just charged across the top of Kalis, left him in his wake. He's in all sorts of trouble. Here's Kamali, a flat pass away to Nick Graham, who's only a couple of metres away from the line. The Roosters playing a man short virtually because Kalis beneath the post is almost out of his feet. Here's Bickerstaff. He'll play it on the last tackle. It comes from Graham to Kamali. He grubbers behind Kalis. Peachy got there and knocked it on, but they will take a look.
Okay, mate, I just want to before that the ball hasn't been actually poked out of David Peachy's hand by another hand. I also wanted to look at that tackle there on Dean Treaster.
A couple of things to look at.
No try. Actually, go back to the tackle.
As you've heard Tim Mander say, he wants to take a look.
What's that, Craig?
Penalty, I was standing up. How could I touch it?
No. Yeah, interference as you were getting up and hitting.
I want to take a look at the tackle that came before this particular play here, but they will first look at this to see if it was a try, as Kamali put the grubber in behind Jason Kalis, who was concussed a couple of tackles before that. There's Peachy losing the ball, I'm sure, pretty much of his own accord. Another angle will take a look at it, and Johns came through to put the ball down on the dead ball line, it looked like anyway.
Well, the ball's gone forward, so I can't see it being a try. There's Peachy there. He's got the ball and loses it, just basically loses it. Of course, Matthew Johns comes up to see if he can put it down before the line. Even that's on the line, Laurie.
Yeah, this will be a no try.
Chris Anderson Trying to stay cool up in the coach's box as everybody waits on for the decision here from the video referee Ian Parnaby, a former Shark, also anxiously watching on. Matt Rogers, now of course a Waratah and a Wallaby in the rugby union code. No try is the call, and it will be a knock on against David Peachey, and the Roosters will bring it back out to their own 20. Now Tim Mander, before that will happen though, will come across and have a look at an incident here involving Dean Treaster.
Did catch him flush on the chin. I had the back view, that's all I can see, but it's worth it.
Do you know which number?
Number 14 East.
Okay. 14 Roosters. 14 Roosters. Hey, Juneva here before, after Dean Treaster had played the ball, you've come and hit him high, mate. Just after, so I've got a penalty here for that, okay?
Well, the Roosters won't have it from their own 20. The Sharks will get a tap just metres out from the Roosters line. Steve Rogers, the football manager here at Cronulla, watching on as they take it back to just outside the 10. Adrian Morley giving away a penalty, hitting Dean Treaster after he played the ball. And now it's Nutley who bumps it forward. The Sharks looking to tie this game up. Kamali cuts out one to give it to Chris Beattie. They raced up quickly again, the Roosters. They continue to go to the right-hand side. Kamali taking them on. Gets to Cusack, who stopped him inches from the line. They thought he was going wider. He cut back on the inside and almost got there.
There's numbers on the left-hand side for the Sharks, Warren.
A slow play the ball. Here's Treaster from dummy half. Peachey goes that way. Graham had to pass it. Now he pops one over the back from Peachey. It comes back to Nutley, who was stopped by Bonetti. Treaster goes back to Kamali. Johns stopped by Fittler. 6 on 6, just outside the 10. Last tackle. Kamali, pass to Bailey. He tries to keep it alive, but he was tackled before he got the pass away, and the Roosters have hung on.
Well, I know the Sharks have had plenty of success with this flatline attack, but really that time they just had to give themselves a little bit more depth, and they would have scored out here on the left-hand edge. They were 1 metre back from the play the ball, and they were right on the line. It just made it so much easier for the Roosters players to get up and put a lot of pressure on them and stop that try.
Here's Bonetti, being frog-marched almost by Bickerstaff and Beattie. Wing gets wrapped up around the shoulders by Beattie. Ricky Stewart doesn't like the call from Tim Mander, and Craig Wing doesn't either. He's a little bit out of it as well now. Here's Hodges in the white boots, wrapped up by Fronze and Graham, who combined to get the Sharks on the board first tonight. As the Roosters make a change, with Brian Fletcher out there now, and Hodges has lost it.
You got up and dived forward and tried to milk it. Big difference.
Just getting back to his feet here. Well, no doubt they're looking at the replay that the ball was stripped out of his hands by Nick Graham. That's a tough call against the Roosters. There's Fletcher on the field now.
Especially when the Sharks are just starting to turn it around a little bit. They've got better field position. Johns from the scrum.
Stepped back into the traffic as the forwards broke from the scrum. Treaster now comes to Nutley, who runs at Ricketson, who stops him with the help there of Fitzgibbon. Here's Beattie on the run around with Kamali. It comes to Graham again. They'd worked the overlap, and once more Graham couldn't keep it coming to the left-hand side. Here's Kamali holding it in one hand, lost the ball, and it will come back to the Roosters through Bonetti.
Well, that's great defence by the Roosters. They all came up in a line. The Sharks going sideways there.
Fitzgibbon picked up by Johns and dumped to the turf. Play on, says Mander, as Mullins takes his turn.
And the Roosters have got every answer in the defence for the Sharks. And I go back to that penalty for the Treaster. Would the Sharks have been better to kick for goal? There's only 4 points difference at the moment. If it goes dead and they miss it, they get the ball back.
Fittler kicking over the head of Peachey. A long kick as well. This breeze here at Toyota Park tonight, pretty much a westerly, blowing right across the ground. Here's Mellor putting a step on Cusack before he's stopped there. Fletcher doing the work with Fittler. Fletcher has missed a bit of football in recent times with a hamstring injury. Played injured in a long time before that. Here's Johns. Nutley going quickly. just off the hip of the dummy half. Change for the Sharks also. Out there in the headgear now is Gibson. Gives Treaster a break after about 24 minutes here. Here's Reek, wrapped up by Minicello and put across the touchline. He took him on, there wasn't much of a gap there. And Minicello was easily able to take him across the line.
Well, they marked up really well there, the Roosters. Minicello took him in a classic tackle, then Hodges coming over to help out, knocking him over the sideline. But the Sharks, when they get to midfield, they haven't had that long ball from Kamali to Nick Graham on this left-hand side. They've been more content to just use the short ball. Now, Justin Hodges is getting caught coming in. If Kamali can get that out ball working, I think they'll have a lot more success.
A wing with the feed. Takes it from the base of the scrum to give it to Minicello. He's a bustling type, plenty of speed as well. We saw that last week. He has been terrific for the Roosters in 2002. Speaking of terrific, here's Mullins, who has turned back the clock. I'll get a penalty.
No, the tackle's dominant, you kept going.
They were too keen to go on with it. Phil Bailey trying to hold down Brett Mullins, and Fittler will find the line.
Laurie, I look at this game at the moment, I think the Sharks are really their own worst enemy. They're not showing any patience. Sometimes when Nick Graham's had the ball in his hand, he's probably taken the wrong option. The Roosters just doing simple things well, and they're still leading at the moment. The Sharks, I think, are in disarray at the moment, particularly with their attacking game close to the line.
Here's Lomu now out there for the Roosters. Gives Morley a break. He's had a problem with a recurring dislocated shoulder throughout this season, has Andrew Lomu. It was expected he wouldn't be back until the first week of the finals. A surprise admission to the side tonight. Cusack. He'll play it just outside the Sharks' 30. There's Benetti to Fittler. Turns it back on the inside for Flannery. He almost got away from the tackle there of Nutley. Stevens, incredibly, looking to come back into the game after having some stitches, obviously, to that dislocated compound finger. Now Fittler putting the kick in. Too big. As we heard Andy Raymond say, it's amazing to see that Jason Stevens so quickly is back on the sideline after a compound dislocation.
It'll certainly be difficult to catch the football if it's his thumb, if it is a compound fracture. Stevens, one of the toughest players in the game, has put his hand back to come back on. They realise how important this win is here tonight. They are playing for a home semi-final.
They'll tap it from their own 20, the Sharks. Nutley stopped by Ricketson and also Fletcher. No defence from the one break they made, which has pretty much been the only break of the game for the Sharks. And it came on this side through Graham, who put Fronze away eventually. Terrific piece of play, but it's the only time they've broken the Roosters line in this game. Now Beattie, carting it forward. Cusack was there trying to put a shoulder charge on him. He bounced off him. Gibson giving it to Kamali, driving it low and hard, taken on the full by Flannery. He's done a good job at fullback.
For a guy who's not a regular custodian, he has played sensational here tonight. Chris Flannery, he's been everywhere that's been required of him. He turns up in the right position. He sniffs around that play the ball area.
There we see again, Laurie, the Roosters making havoc around that dummy half area, making some good yards, just doing the simple things very, very well.
Stevens is back out there for the Sharks. Here's Ricketson running at Kamali. There is Stevens helping out in that tackle. And they will play it at the 40-metre line. Wing from dummy half. Look for the in-goal area. And the kick will be a long way too big. And as the Sharks get ready to bring it back out from their own end, let's go back downstairs to Andy.
Gee, I'm an average doctor, aren't I? You wouldn't want me prescribing medicine for a cold or flu. Jason Stevens running the ball up now. Who's said being a believer really doesn't count? I've just spoken to Tony Ayu from the Sharks medical staff. He said it was a dislocation of the thumb, not a fracture. The dislocation occurred and tore the skin. He's gone in, had some stitches. He's back out. The thumb put itself back in.
That is remarkable, especially your diagnosis. I'll have a sniff when you'll be giving me the last rites. AJ Raymond is certainly no doctor. Bosnich out there now, replacing Bickerstaff for the Sharks. Here's Kamali. Johns floating one over the top to McKenna. He got on the outside of Byrne, who made a bootlace tackle and forced a mistake as well. Terrific defence from Todd Byrne.
Great work there by Todd Byrne. The Roosters were stretched. They have been stretched every time the Sharks look to go wide. The Roosters just getting a bit caught short, and he had to come up with the tackle there. Todd Byrne, he did that.
Those completion rates after being perfect in the opening passages. The Sharks now 9 of 15. Plenty of those mistakes coming in the last 8 or 9 possessions as well. Kalis is back on the bench with a nice back around the back of the neck. Fitzgibbon, the players on the left-hand side for the Roosters, comes in to take his share of the work as they work it down the right-hand side.
You're going early.
Brad Fittler getting on with it as well, finding the line. He chewed off plenty of metres. They weren't back there to make a play in it, and now they're just 10 metres away as the Roosters Army find their voice, and Hodges takes them on. They'll stop him for the moment, but he'll play it just metres away. Benetti at dummy half. As Fittler standing at first receiver. A ball back on the inside for Robinson, who's wrapped up there. Nutley and Stevens stopping him at the 10-metre line. Fittler goes wide this time. Wing had Flannery back on the inside. Tried to beat the tackle of Johns, who was up to the task. Comes through the hands there of Fletcher. Byrne trying his luck, goes close to scoring. He got across, but he was held up.
He's had a bit of success the last couple of weeks. Todd Byrne just hitting some flat passes. This time it was off Fletcher. And just getting held up over the line. What they're doing better than the Sharks is any quick play of the ball, the Roosters are attacking. They're looking to spread it. Whereas the Sharks, on the other hand, they have a quick play of the ball, then they just want to go forward again.
Laurie, you're right on the money there. That was a quick play of the ball by Craig Wing. The Sharks were going backwards and the Roosters exploited that. A great opportunity here for the Roosters again.
Wing from the scrum base, takes it and goes. Got a good ball away to Fittler as well. Johns was there, got him around the legs, and they came in numbers to stop him eventually. Here's Fitzgibbon, showing it to Flannery, going himself. They've had some pressure inside the Sharks 20 in the last couple of minutes. Here's Robinson taking them on. Bosnich there amongst others with Stevens, showing no ill effects from the dislocated thumb at the moment. Now Lomu, powerful reserve forward, popping it out the back. Here's Minicello taking them on, ran straight at Peachy. He tried to steamroll him. They got there to help the Peach. Benetti will give it to Fittler. Chipping through, Wing was coming quickly. Peachy beat him to the ball, I think you'll find, but they will check it upstairs.
Yep.
Wing might have hurt himself here as well, diving for the ball. He went very close, it was well weighted. Just grabbing at the wrist there. And Peachy getting there in front of him. Had an air swing, in fact. I don't know that Wing got it down, though.
No, sorry about that, Warren. The last couple of kicks from the Roosters have been pretty ordinary, going dead. This time, though, the right weight on it. And I think Craig Wing has got to the football first, but knocked it forward.
Well, Paul Mellor, watch his right arm.
Mellor, yep.
The number 5 for the Sharks. But I've got to also say, Laurie, that when the Roosters close to the line, they're standing flat too. They've got to give themselves another couple more metres to stand deeper and give them plenty of options. But Mellor does get his hand to the ball. Is no try. Should be a line drop out, and the Roosters will get the ball back.
Well, you're exactly right, Steve. It was the right arm of Mellor which came in at the death to knock it across the dead ball line. So it will be the Roosters who get another 6 tackles here. Benetti waits on. It will be a no try. And the goal line dropout from the Sharks. Kamali driving it low, can't find much distance. Brought it straight at Brian Fletcher, who brings it straight back inside the 20. Here come the Sharks, under pressure again from the Roosters. Fittler gives it off to Robinson. They've been pretty good on their own line in the last few minutes, the Sharks. Lomu again will test them out as he takes it to the right of the post. Benetti comes back to this right-hand side. Robinson. He'll play for Hodges, who likes to go from dummy half. This occasion he fires it to Fittler. They got up quickly outside him though. Kamali and Johns on his outside and forced him back on the inside. Wing from dummy half. He'll give it to Fletcher, who puts the grubber in. Well fielded by Mellor. It could have been an awkward one, but he took it well.
And the Sharks have defended Brad Fittler quite well here tonight. They're getting up hard on his outside, making him step back on the inside, but they're covering up. The spacing is not getting too big. They're there, they're putting him under pressure.
Mellor soaking it up for the Sharks on top of their own line as Nutley plays it back to Gibson. Now Bailey. He's played the entire 33 minutes so far, or almost 33 minutes. Here's Kamali from well inside his 40 when he got the kick away. And he just punts it down the middle of the park. Flannery will bring it back. Don't give him too much room to get a bit of momentum up, because he can be a damaging runner. State of origin representative this year for Queensland is Mullins. Hasn't had too many chances on that left-hand side so far in the game. Byrne gives it to Fitzgibbon. He just works and works and works for this Roosters side.
He does a great job week in, week out, Craig Fitzgibbon. He's probably playing under the more illustrious back row in Brian Fletcher and Luke Ricketson, but he has been a standout for the Roosters this season.
Here is Fletcher now, one off the ruck. He just ragdolled Kamali. Ran over the top of him as Flannery gives it to Benetti. Fires a lovely ball to Fittler. High in the air. Pressure once again on Mellor. Mullins is there. Mellor got a piece of it. It went across the sideline. I think it will come off Mellor. The Roosters will get the ball back again.
Okay, out by him, not touched by St. George.
That was a great bomb by Brad Fittler. High enough for his players to compete for it. Mellor gets his hand to it. It does go forward. It goes over the sideline. So it's off the Sharks. So it'll be a Roosters feed. Another great opportunity for the Roosters against the Sharks.
Mellor doesn't like the call. He thought Mullins got a hand to it and knocked it into Mellor before it came off the Sharks winger. Here's Wing. Comes to Fittler, who cuts out one to give it to Hodges. Oh, Minicello looking for a hole, which closed very quickly. He bounced back to his feet after some heavy contact to give it back to Hodges. Flannery. Give it to Lomu. Taken by Bosnich around the legs. Minicello loops a pass to Wing, who is standing wide at first receiver. Flannery. The move from Fittler. They got there in numbers again. The Sharks getting there in 3s and 4s in every tackle now. Fitzgibbon gives it to Fletcher. Dangerous player at this end of the field. Just pop a pass. Fittler with Robinson outside. He cut the ball out to Hodges, who dropped 4 points, as cold as you like.
When he catches that, it was a try.
What a great ball there by Brad Fittler. Now both these teams play the up and in, and Reek was beaten by the pass. Hodges knocking it forward, a certain 4-pointer. I think that's what the Sharks have got to do a little bit more of. Use the football, not so much go to the first man, face passes, second man plays.
Here's Nutley. Coming off the back of a good hit up from Bosnich. They're almost lookalikes. And now Stevens getting across the advantage line, looking for a fast play the ball, but they were able to roll him on his back here with under 4.5 left in this first half. Kamali showing it. Peachy was flying up on the inside. Gibson comes to Johns, who will kick on the last tackle. Here comes Mellor putting some pressure on Flannery. And Mullins did very well to give him a bit of a shepherd. And then Byrne was put under the pump as well by the pass. Gibson was there to crunch him as soon as he took it. Fitzgibbon, first back there again for the forwards. You can't wrap him enough. Mullins, they'll get a penalty. The Sharks sit up inside the 10.
There's the mark.
Once again, Fittler wants to play an up-tempo style of game here. Peachy arguing the toss with Tim Mander, but the Roosters want to keep the flow going.
Well, I think they realise there's only 3.5 minutes to go before half-time. They are on top. They realise they don't want half-time to come. They would rather this football game go for another 10 or 15 minutes. They can smell a bit of blood here, the Roosters. They think that they can get another try on the board before half-time.
Fletcher. There's plenty of evidence to suggest they can. Fitzgibbon from dummy half. Turns it back on the inside for Byrne, who slipped out of the Matthew Johns tackle. And they got there to stop him. Stevens was there with the help of one other. Now Lomu. Taken by Bailey. And lost the ball here as he got back to his feet.
No, he was effectively held and would come in there and made him lose it.
Put the ball down first.
No, it's because of the tackle. You had to clear it. There's a lot of borderline there, David, where you're not clearing the ruck quick enough for me, okay?
Works both ways.
A string of penalties here for the Roosters, and they will take the attempt at 2 points.
Well, we see here on the replay, he's trying to get up and play the football. They were all over the top of him, Jason Stevens. They have elected to go for the 2 points, and you would think that Fitzgibbon would slot this over to take them out to a 6-point lead. But that's been the key here so far in this first 40 minutes, is the speed of the play the ball from the Roosters. The Sharks realise that, but what they have to do is get the numbers in on the tackle.
We'll see what happens after this kick, but before he gets it away, let's go downstairs to Andy Raymond.
And Roosters trainer Ron Palmer currently out there with Craig Wing at the moment, who going for that try a couple of minutes ago injured his wrist, sprained his wrist, but has also got a hip problem. He's currently trying to stretch it out, but it's not working. The Roosters' Dr. John Orchard has already headed back to the dressing room. They're going to assess him at half-time, but it is unlikely that Craig Wing will play much further part in this match. He is struggling.
Fitzgibbon. Just the left-hand side of the post with a good strike, but it missed to the left-hand side.
Put the mocker on him once more.
Well, Laurie, they've gone for the goal, they've missed the goal, but they're going to get the ball back. So with only 1 minute to go, they're going to finish off with the ball.
And the Sharks came up, they took a quick 20-metre drop out. They caught the Roosters out, and they've got them back well inside their own 40 as Lomu picks up. Byrne giving it to Fittler. Tries the hard work up the middle. He was met there by Nutley and Bailey. Here's Byrne again, going from dummy half. Good run from the left centre. Picked up 15, the best part of 20 metres. Fitzgibbon now to Cusack. They've done well in the first 4 tackles here. Benetti going from dummy half. Byrne a tackle almost to take them down to the 30. Will they go high to the air again, or perhaps a little one in behind them? Fittler chipping back in behind them. Peachy waiting for it, couldn't get there. Mellor could though. On the fingertips, he produced the Tarzan's grip to reel one in. He wasn't entitled to.
That was a great bit of work there by Paul Mellor. He was slipping over, and to reach out, grab the football stuck.
Wait.
And that is a let-off on half-time for the Sharks outfit.
That's 4.
It only had to spill away from his fingers, and there were Roosters all over the place waiting to pick up the crumbs. Here's Kamali going to Graham, who threw a forward pass, eventually called by the touch judge. On the stroke of half-time, they worked to the left-hand side, but at the break, it will be the Roosters holding a 4-point advantage over the Sharks as they lead them 10 points to 6. Tim Mander getting a plenty of what for from the crowd here as he goes back to the tunnel at the break. He awarded a string of penalties to the visitors in the run towards half-time. But those fans there, those Roosters fans who've made the trek to Cronulla tonight, would like what they've seen so far. Their side's on top in this battle for a home ground final next week. And we'll take a break and come back to look at those first half highlights. It's half-time here at Toyota Park. It's the Roosters in this battle for 4th place who lead the Sharks 10 points to 6. Some close calls for both teams at either end of the field. Matthew Johns thought he might have picked up a 4-pointer for the Sharks, but David Peachy had knocked it on before that. Craig Wing also went very close at the other end of the field when Brad Fittler floated a kick through into the in goal, only to be denied by the right arm of Paul Mellor. Entertaining affair though, this one, as both sides A few final instructions before they come out back onto Toyota Park as we take a look at the stats at half-time, and I'm sure they'll be fairly telling in favour of the Roosters, who had so much possession inside the Sharks' 50 metres.
Well, it certainly is. Look at the possession rate there, 62 to 38, almost the double there. The penalties benefiting the Roosters 2-6-3, and basically the game has been played down in the Sharks' half. 11 from 19, Chris Henderson won't be happy about that. The Roosters 22 from 25 is pretty good, but go down to the errors as well. 8 errors by the Sharks. They really have been on the back foot. That's why they've been in their own territory for most of the game. Only 2 to the Roosters. It is a scoreline 10 points to 6, but the Roosters have had a lion's share of possession, and if the Sharks get some of that, I think they could possibly come back.
The Roosters come back out 40 minutes away from perhaps hosting a final at Aussie Stadium in week 1 of the playoffs. Ricky Stewart be hoping his side can keep going as they did, as you were saying, Laurie, before the break. They didn't want half-time to come. They were dominating field position so much, the Roosters. As the Sharks come back out, of course, led by David Peachy.
Laurie and Warren, it's a typical game of football by 2 good teams leading up to the semi-finals. It's very defence orientated. It seems to be their major focus at the moment, slowing the play the ball down. But when they get attacking opportunities close to the line, except for that Brad Fittler pass where Justin Hodges put the ball down, there seems to be a little bit of tunnel vision and they're standing flat. So if they can address their attacking options close to the line and get a little bit deeper, there may be some tries abound.
Nutley being good coming off the bench for the Sharks in that first half. Of the real finds of 2002. Peachy had some heated words to say to Tim Mander in that first half, who blows time back on as Fitzgibbon gets us underway, and it comes down to Peachy, who gives it off to Jason Stevens. You missed the first half. A dislocated thumb for Stevens. They took him back to the sheds and strapped it up and worked on him. He was able to come back into the fray not long after that. Nutley playing it to Gibson. Comes to Bosnich now, who takes it outside the Sharks' 30. Bailey stopped by Robinson, drives him sideways there in the tackle. Fitzgibbon and Benetti also getting there to help out. And Kamali from just inside his 40, looking for the sideline, and Vinicello in the end was happy to watch it across the sideline because it went into touch just outside the 20, but it was a close run thing.
Typical Sharks set coming out of trouble. Just good go forward, quick play the ball, looking for Kamali to get the good kick away, just missing out on the 40-20.
Okay, get our formation, wait till they're settled, Craig. You stay in there, Nick.
Wing from the base of the scrum. Comes to Flannery.
Dominant one. Hold, Phil.
They'll work it away from inside their 30. Here's Hodges going to Robinson.
Here we go, Matt. Chris, hold.
Playing it back to Benetti. Fitzgibbon, just one off the ruck stuff so far from the Roosters in this set of 6. Here's Fittler from dummy half now. Comes to the left-hand side and finds Fletcher. And takes it into Sharks territory. Now Byrne from dummy half. Fittler. And wing outside him.
Last one, last one.
And now from dummy half. Comes away. They put the ball high in the air. Off the hands there of Matthew Reek. And knocked forward by the Roosters, so the Sharks will get it. Strong defence again from the Roosters. Comes back to Gibson.
Sorry, Ryan, with this second half, you know, both teams have got to show a little bit of patience, I believe, and their playmakers really have got to sort of have a look at the opposition numbers on the field, and they've got to play to where those weak numbers are to create those attacking opportunities, a 2-on-1. If the playmakers that can do that, the Fitness or the Kamalis that do that well this half, the second half, will take a big step towards winning this game.
Kamali inside his own half, kicking down the middle of the park. He'll find Flannery. He'll bring it back, and once again, straight line of blue defence to greet him when he looks up. Minicello. Running across the paddock, bumped off the shoulder there of Matthew Johns, who came again eventually, wrestled him to ground. A bit of feeling there between the two of them. Now Fitzgibbon. It's been hard work for the Roosters. Run into the park since the break. Renewed vigour about this Sharks defensive line since half-time. Now Cusack.
Roll away. To the side,
Benetti.
Kenny. Don't roll over,
To
mate.
Fittler from well inside the 40. Looking for that sideline, but he won't be able to find it. Worked out to be a pretty good kick anyway, because Peachy had to take it just in his own in goal. And they've done well to stop him outside the Sharks' 10. Miller from dummy half. Just working it forward for a settler, and now McKenna will do likewise as they take it back towards the middle of the park to where the forwards are camped. Change for the Roosters. Morley back out there as he misses a tackle. Lomu, the man to come back to the bench. An early change for the visitors in their second half, but they both have plenty of changes up their sleeves. That's the fourth change made in the game so far by the Roosters. And now Johns running it down the right-hand side, narrow side, grubbering to Flannery. Kamali got up there to make a super tackle on him. Flannery thought about going again, but he was definitely tackled. That's great work by the halfback.
And again, he's done the second tackle there. He really is leading from the front, Brett Kamali. A great defensive game.
One of the few touches he's had so far in the game. Play it back to Byrne. Now Fitzgibbon. Just driving in down low was Gibson. Numbers in tackles tonight from both sides. Giving 3 men there pretty much all the time as Kamali wraps up Byrne. He had visions of dragging him across the touchline for a moment. Mullins, wasn't a good pass to Fittler. Terrific hands to pick it up. Peachy will watch it. Take a bounce towards the dead ball line. And the Sharks will restart it from their own 20 as we go downstairs to the halftime report from Andy Raymond.
And Ricky Stewart said at the break the last tackle options have let his side down, and to improve in that area by being more organised late in the count. And he stressed to support the ball carrier in attack. It's something they've practiced all week, but they haven't put into play tonight. A real concern about Craig Wing. I mentioned before the break he's jarred his hip. There's a real concern on how long he'll last out there, because there was also no real other first receiver options without sacrificing Fittler at second receiver. For the Sharks, really improve in field possession and be patient.
Fittler can pretty comfortably slot into the full-time halfback role if he needed to. With Fronze here, has the ball stripped out, play on it, came back to Gibson, and it will be a restarted tackle count. That will be the 0 tackle for the Sharks. Kamali gives it on to Bosnich, and he got the ball in turn from him. Back on the inside for Matthew Johns. Wing came across and just forced Johns to change his line. Robinson made the covering tackle. Here's Stevens to Peachy. Showed it to Bailey. Took the tackle there of Byrne and also Morley. Plenty of tackles though up their sleeves. Here's Miller, one off the ruck. Offloading, it comes to Stevens. A chance for the Sharks. Had they been able to keep it going? A couple of times tonight they needed the one more pass to the left-hand side and couldn't keep it going. They go there now through Kamali. Graham stepping off the left foot. Good tackle by Cusack, stopped him a metre away. Fronze to Kamali. Not played it, it was off Gibson, I'm sure. It came back to Stevens, to Nutley, but I'm sure this is accidental offside.
Hey, we've got about 2 or 3 things there.
What about Stevens blocking?
Hey, walk away. Walk away. Just make sure he wasn't offside first, Jason Stevens, and then make sure, if that's okay, that they haven't knocked the ball on.
The kick comes in here, and unless it's an optical illusion, Gibson, who was running a line close to Kamali, wore it off the left shoulder, and that's exactly what happened, and he had to be in front of Kamali. It has to be accidental offside, doesn't it? The ball from Stevens back to Nutley was okay, and he got the ball down in a backwards motion from Stevens to Nutley. But there's the ball. It came loose from Stevens. Nutley was able to come up with it and plant it down, but the initial kick has to be accidental offside. Surely, here it is again. Now Kamali is kicking the ball forward, and whether Gibson's feet are behind him or not would seem to be inconsequential. It hit him in the shoulder, obviously in front of Kamali. Tell me it's offside.
I've got to say, Warren, that I don't think it will be a try. Gibson marginally offside. It wasn't played at, and Stevens was within the 10 metres of where Kamali kicked that ball. Nutley puts the ball down. Gee, there's a number of contentious issues to deal with, but I can't see it being a try. There's that kick again. Now for mine.
Well, he has to be kicking the ball in a forward direction, wasn't he? I mean, could you make a case for him kicking the ball backwards in that situation? It certainly didn't look like he was. And then the ball comes from Stevens to Nutley. Well, I have no problem with that part of it, but I think the very first part of it rules out any Sharks try.
Well, I don't know if Gibson was offside. It certainly did hit Gibson. But also Jason Stevens. The ball coming off Flannery. I don't think it'll be a try.
Here's the decision. It is a no try and a penalty. It will be offside against the Sharks.
It's offside in front of the kicker, came within the 10. It's a penalty here.
So they've come up with a call against the Sharks. And I'm pretty sure no matter which way you slice it, they got it right in the end. And it will be a break for the Roosters, who will find the line through wing.
Well, Jason Stevens was certainly offside and was within that 10-metre radius of where Kamali kicked the ball. So certainly the decision is right. Now for the opportunity of the Roosters to work it back down into the Sharkies' half.
Up by one, roll away.
That might have been the final call they came up with. That Stevens was in fact inside the 10 from an offside position, but I still have to believe that Gibson was in an offside position himself when the ball struck him.
Back up.
Here's Wing from dummy half as it comes to Fittler, who had the ball charged down. Now Flannery picking it up from fullback. They stop him inside the 40, but that will be the restart, and that'll be tackle one. Hodges just working it away from dummy half. Safety first stuff, very much so from the Roosters. In this opening 8 minutes of the second half, they have a 4-point lead to protect at the moment. Wing looking to put the speed on. Now Stevens will be penalised for flopping in.
He was tackled. He was tackled. He was getting up to play the ball.
The Sharks players look to be a little bit frustrated at the moment, Warren. Jason Stevens argued with the referee on a number of occasions, but they really must keep their heads. They've got to show some patience. They are starting to offload the football. They do look dangerous when they do that.
Here's Robinson offloading it. Comes to Cusack now. He takes it inside the Sharks 20. About 16 out from the post. Benetti gives it to Fittler, taking them on himself. Gibson was able to tackle him downstairs. A fast play the ball. Benetti. He goes to Wing. Cuts back to the right-hand side. Hodges was posted out there with no winger outside him. He was an easy target for the Sharks defence, which included Kamali. Minicello to Fittler as they come up quickly. Second man ball for Flannery.
On the line.
Fletcher just gives it off to Wing, and again they race up out of the line. It was Gibson this time. Fittler though over the top for Byrne, looking for the corner. He took the corner post, and they will take a look at it.
Jump in a bottle.
I think this will be a no try, Warren. I dead set think Todd Byrne has touched the football with the corner post. Touched the corner post with the football, I'm sorry. Great vision again by Fittler with the pass. Oh, I think this will be a try.
I think it will be a try, Laurie. He gets that ball down before he hits that corner post. Some great vision there too by the Roosters.
That is crossing the line.
That's a try for mine.
And that is it. You asked a question about an incident, and that is it.
Well, there's the put down. There seems to be no problem with it. The ball's down there, right there in that frame there, long before the corner post is taken out. And you would think it should be a fairly clear-cut decision for Ian Parnaby tonight. He wants to take a look at it again. The ball on the ground.
Sorry, Warren, that's got to be a try.
Well, the first one shows it. I don't know why you need to see that second angle and then again this angle here.
That's a definite 4-pointer. And hasn't Todd Byrne filled in the role that Shannon Hegarty created when he broke his jaw against the Broncos about a month ago? He's played some outstanding football. He's crossed over the line for a number of tries and he's been very solid in defence as the TRY sign comes up. And the Roosters go out to an 8-point lead.
Laurie, I think they might have asked the Fox Sports cameraman there. He was right on the spot there, seeing that ball go there. But some great vision here too. Wing goes to Fittler. He sees numbers out wide. That's great stuff there. And Todd Byrne, he has been one of the best performers for the Roosters tonight. He can take a bow, Wing offloads the ball, gets it back to Fittler, and the champion sees the numbers out there. Probably not the best of passes, but nevertheless, it got there, and he got the result he wanted. A 4-pointer right in the corner.
And now Fitzgibbon from wide out, hoping this one will hook back and shave the right hand upright. But in a low-scoring game, it is the Roosters who have a grip on it at the moment. They lead the Sharks 14 points to 6 as the clock goes inside the half-hour mark remaining. Todd Byrne picks up try number 6 for the year. Mainly a winger in past seasons in first grade, the appearances he's made, but he's found a home in the centres in recent times, filling in and also as a starter on a more permanent basis. He's done a good job of it as well. Picks up a very important try for his side tonight.
That's 2. Wait for it here. Wait.
Fletcher got to them and then picked up some extra metres as well. Drag Gibson and Nutley with him. That allows Fittler to get a kick away from inside the 40 on the run. He didn't get a kind bounce though, although Minicello got to it and then fired a lovely ball back on the inside for Justin Hodges. If you're looking for a premiership favourite, you may have to look no further than the Tricolours. The Sydney Roosters on fire suddenly here at Cronulla, and they lead the Sharks 18 points to 6. What a piece of play this is from Minicello. We've seen it from him before.
They are on fire, the Roosters. This was a great kick by Brad Fittler. They were looking to get out of trouble. They'd had 3 good runs, quick play the balls. They wanted to play it down the Sharks' end. And Minicello, he chased the football, got the right bounce, and the support play that Ricky Stewart was asking from his team at half-time has certainly been there. And that's just a wonderful effort by the Sydney Roosters.
Well, Laurie, in tight games like this, when you need a champion to step up the mark, Fittler did that wonderful kick. Great work by Minicello. Justin Hodges receiving the ball. Probably don't agree with that pre-try celebration, but nevertheless, it's a 4-pointer turned into 6. And the Roosters, they lead 20 points to 6. They're looking pretty good, but there's plenty of time left.
Well, they lead the Sharks 20 points to 6, and one stat that is heavily in their favour at this point of the game. And of the last 6 meetings between these two sides on this ground, the Chooks have won 4 of them. And we might be headed for the Chook Yard in week 1 of the finals, when they perhaps host the Sharks if they can hang on to this lead. There's every indication at the moment they will do that. They have the best defence in the league, and they have a 14-point lead with 27 minutes remaining on the clock. They haven't looked like giving up a line break apart from the one through which the Sharks scored in the 8th minute.
Bring it over.
Here's Fitzgibbon playing it as it comes to Jason Kalis, who was slightly concussed in that first half and saw some treatment during that first 40 minutes. Fittler again. A beautiful spiral kick this time, which will perhaps sit down for him. No, it won't. It will just go across the dead ball line. And Peachy, who's had a running battle with Tim Manor tonight, will look to get things going here.
We'll know in the next 26 minutes how much a home semi-final means to the Sharks players. They could go one of 2 ways. They could put their head down and get on with the job of trying to win it and cement a home semi-final, or maybe look to next week and say the game is out of our reach, and knowing that we don't want to suffer any injuries, but Chris Anderson, I'm sure, and the players will be thinking, we're not going to give up here. We want that home semi-final, and we must now start to be scoring points.
Here's Gibson. Coming to Kamali, who's up the tempo suddenly. A good pass away to McKenna, but they were there again. Lovely tackle by Byrne on McKenna. Kamali chipping over the top. Got it back in again. Puts the kick in behind Mullins, who will just fall on it to wrap it up. Mellor was on his hammer behind him. He did well, the former Raider.
Look, that was a good bit of play there by Brett Kamali. He'd been put on his back a number of times that set of 6. He jumped straight back off the deck, got his hands on the football. The only question, or the question mark about doing that is you don't have the vision to see what's happening in front of you. He's just looking, getting his hands on the football. Other players have got to take a little bit more pressure off Kamali.
Benetti taking it to the 30-metre line for the Roosters on the last tackle. Fittler, no pressure from the Sharks, getting up in his face. He's able to put another deep kick in. And this breeze in the second half has slightly turned around, and it definitely favours the Roosters at the moment. They've had the luck as far as the breeze is concerned. It didn't really favour either side in that first 40 minutes. They've got it behind them at the moment. It's definitely filling their sails as they lead the Sharks 20 points to 6.
Sorry, Warren Laurie, talking about the home ground advantage for the semi-final, certainly the Sharks would find an advantage here. But at the Sydney Football Stadium, where grand finals have been played, I don't see it being a mistake there by the Sharks, but a great advantage to the Roosters, because it's a special occasion to play at the Sydney Football Stadium. I think the Sharks could quite easily lift themselves like any other team could.
I totally agree with that, Turby. I think that the sides love to play at Aussie Stadium, as the referee is now calling out Chris McKenna.
I want him on display.
Luke Phillips watching on from the sideline.
You have a captain. You come back here, Chris. One more word, and that is straight to the bin.
Well, the Sharks are losing their cool here at the moment. David Peachy has had plenty to say to Tim Mander. So has Chris McKenna, quite obviously here. And now they'll get the ball back, the Roosters, as Flannery takes it towards the Sharks' 30-metre line. One more try here, despite there being more than 20 minutes left. Might be enough for the Roosters, you would think. Beattie is back out there for the Sharks.
Hold here, hold here, hold!
Benetti clapping the hands to get to play the ball in action. Here's Wing, almost got between them.
Stand up!
He was stopped, but only just by Greg Bird, who's also out there for the Sharks now. Here's Ricketson running at Bird, who once again makes the tackle. Fitzgibbon comes to Fittler. Wing gives it off, and it comes to Fletcher. He was threatening to break the tackle himself. Benetti back to Fittler. A kick over the top. Mullins is out there, came down with it. The Roosters are headed home for the finals. Mullins leapt above them to bring it down. It will be a home final next week for the Chooks. They lead the Sharks 24 points to 6.
And again, a perfectly weighted kick and directed kick by Brad Fittler. Mullins, probably the best player in the competition under a high ball. And to just place it so nicely over the top of Paul Mellor. He had to stand. Mullins had to run and leap. And just too good.
Beautifully placed kick there. Brett Mullins getting up, putting the ball down. Brad Fittler again, the champion, stepping up the mark. He is the puppeteer. And that's a very vital try, as some very happy Roosters supporters acknowledge that 4-pointer by Brett Mullins.
Try number 118 now in this illustrious career. It might have quite a few games to go yet, at least this season. There's been no decision as to whether he'll remain at Bondi Junction in 2003. And if they do happen to win it all, it might be a good way to go out. But if they do, it might be hard stopping him from playing next year. Fitzgibbon with the kick. It shaved the left hand upright. It's good. They can do no wrong suddenly, and they lead by a clear 20. Let's take a look at this kick again. As we look up into the lights, it shaves the inside of the left upright. Fitzgibbon comes up with the goods. The Roosters are on a roll, and Flannery has it from the kickoff.
Hold here, hold!
Hodges now from dummy half. Just tracking across them. Getting through them as well. They're opening up suddenly, the Sharks. Oh, Peachy came up to put a big hit on him. Crunched him in the tackle. But they are coming to finish them off. Here's Minicello to Fitzgibbon. It might come now. Here's Byrne. He's away. A ball back on the inside to Mullins, who picks up a double.
Did he drop the ball?
And we'll check the grounding as well as whether he's could touch the line here.
They will take a look at it. He picks up a double in mere seconds and would make it a hat-trick for the night after scoring in the first half as well. What a lovely passage of play from the Roosters. What about the pass from Byrne?
Great work there by Todd Byrne. Mullins stays in the field of play, does a tremendous job, slams it down. I think this will be a 4-pointer.
Well, Laurie, he's certainly inside the touchline, but this is where I thought he might have lost the ball. Wonderful ball by Todd Byrne. Brett Mullins didn't even know he was going to get the ball. He sees the line. Now, does he actually ground the ball? Yes, he does.
You can make it 3 for Mullins tonight. No problem with him touching the sideline. He was in that by centimetres, but that's all he had to be. And then the right foot was in mid-air when he placed the ball down. That was athletic in itself to be able to get the put down in under the pressure from Chris McKenna. It was a great bust initially made by Justin Hodges, and from the ensuing play they were able to work the numbers down the left-hand side. There it is, a try for Mullins. He picks up 3 so far in the game, and he might have a personal best, tying 4 in the game in mind. And the Roosters are just obliterating the Sharks here suddenly, 30 points to 6.
And again, quick play the ball by Justin Hodges, and they've just got them for numbers down that left edge. And Mullins crossing back on the inside from the ball from Byrne, going over in the corner.
Laurie, great work there too by Craig Fitzgibbon holding that ball up. But this Todd Byrne, I'm very impressed with him. And the Roosters have always been known to buy players from other clubs, and they're a very, very well-to-do club. But Todd Byrne, he's a local. He's from the Coogee Wombats, similar to Brian Fletcher and Luke Ricketson. So it's good to see a lot of the local junior content in the Tricolours team.
Fitzgibbon from almost the sideline. Pretty much a replica of the kick he had just moments ago. This one, though, slews out to the right-hand side, but they lead them by 4 converted tries. Who'd have thought that?
And it'll be interesting to get the thoughts of the coaches after the game, knowing that they have to play one another again next week. What the Sharks think that they need to do better, and what the Roosters, whether they can play better or whether is this the best that they can. I'm sure both coaches would be looking forward to that game next Friday night. 4th up against 5th. The Roosters are home semi-final.
Will there be any scars left mentally for the Sharks after this beating? And it's not done with yet. It's been quite stunning. It was only 4 points, the margin between them at the break. It's been all the Roosters since then. They've scored 4 tries in total in this second half. Mullins has picked up 2. Byrne and Hodges have also grabbed tries, and now the kick. And Craig Wing this time, who stayed behind the 40. It wasn't the best kick he's put in this season.
Warren,
it's Reek who will bring it back, Steve.
Sorry, Warren, of the two teams, the Roosters have been far more stable. An opportunity here for the Sharks on the right-hand side of the field. But for mine, the Sharks look very frustrated. I'm just trying to see, Laurie, what you were saying about the coaches after this game. Where's it? Are they going to improve? They really have been their own worst enemy, the Sharks, here tonight.
Well, it's certainly been a good learning curve for the Sharks tonight. They have been put under enormous amounts of pressure up against a quality team. The opposition have only made 3 handling mistakes with the football. The Sharks, on the other hand, have turned the ball over on a number of occasions. They haven't really promoted the football as they have in their 11 victories. They were offloading the football at will. Peachy was starting to get a lot more involved.
And here he is picking up the chip kick from Kamali. It comes back to Bosnich, but it's gone forward.
Ball's gone forward. Forward,
I had some doubts about Treaster being in front of Kamali when the chip kick was put in. And And he was certainly within the 10 when the ball was played at, but it doesn't matter in the long run because it's Flannery who is now working it away for the Roosters.
And we're talking about the Sharks being frustrated. Certainly their coach, David Peachey, hasn't been a happy man out there, particularly the second half, always arguing with the referee, and perhaps that reflects upon on the other team members.
Their coach, do you know something we don't know too? He's the captain. Is he going to usurp Chris Anderson perhaps after this performance?
I wouldn't think
Played it
so.
out there the front of you, rather than behind you.
A mistake here by the Roosters. One of the few from them in the night. Jason Stevens there. Around the play the ball. Well, they've come up with one. And they will argue that they haven't had many calls, if any, go their way tonight. There's a ball from Greg Bird, who's out there because Matthew Johns has left the field once again. And as the Sharks go on the attack here, we'll get a report from Andy in a moment on a couple of injuries. Reek.
On two.
He's just 18 metres away. They need plenty of points and they need them in a hurry. Good take from Kamali, who put Bird under pressure, but he's there to take the offload. Runs across the face of this Roosters defence. He can't beat Ricketson, though. He got up and just monstered him and drove him backwards to boot.
Oh, now you're holding him.
They have been outplayed tonight in every facet. Here's Peachey trying to add something now. The ball comes loose and it comes back to Todd Bird. That'll just about sum things up for the Sharks.
Their defence has been great tonight, the Roosters. They've really put the key players under a lot of pressure. Kamali tonight has been on the ground more times than what I've seen him this season.
Hodges now standing in the tackle, picked up by Fronze, who apart from scoring the opening try of the game, has hardly seen the ball. Kalis.
Laurie, just adding to that, I think the Roosters are doing the simple things well. They're not panicking at all. They're getting some good yardage, good kicking game in the second half, and they're not panicking at all. And that seems to be paying dividends for the Roosters in this second half.
Wing with Fittler again, putting his kick in over the head of Reek, and he gets the good bounce once again, although it will just run across the dead ball line, but he's almost perfected that, the spiral punt, which just bounces away from the sideline.
Well, it's been one of their strong parts of their game in the past 5-6 weeks. The Roosters is their kick chase game. They've been able to put teams under a lot of pressure, make them work off their own line. And then if they've turned the ball over, the Roosters have been able to capitalise. Fittler's got one of the best kicking games in the difference. And we were talking earlier about the top teams and the bottom teams in the competition. How there's a great discrepancy in this kicking games.
And there's 15,000 linesmen agree with that decision by Tim Mander. Roosters being inside the 10.
A rare penalty for the Sharks in this game. They gave up a string of penalties in the first half. And it is the Roosters who lead that count, 8-4. Stevens. It'll be interesting to see how he comes up tomorrow with this dislocated thumb. I think it would cause him a lot of problems in the week, in the build-up to next week's game between these two sides. Changes. Bailey back out there for the Sharks. Likewise, Cusack for the Roosters. Over the left-hand side, and Fronze is just outside the Roosters' 10. Kamali to Beattie. A pass intended for Kamali, which eventually comes to him. Flipped up off the ground by Treester. Here's Bird. The ball back on the inside for Bailey. He keeps it alive. Back to Kamali again. Here's McKenna, who gives it to Mellor. And the Roosters just kept coming and got numbers there once again. Last tackle. Peachey.
Sorry, Warren,
dummy half.
great scrambling defence there by the Roosters.
And now they give it up. It's Fittler who gets there for the Roosters.
Back up, Nick Graham.
Kidwell. Picked up by Bickerstaff, who hasn't seen a lot of game time tonight. Clock comes down to the 13-minute mark. Here's Wing to Fittler as they come left again, and they've caught them out there a number of times in this second half. They almost did so again. It was only Mellor who came up out of the line to snuff it out. He was able to stop them. Fitzgibbon and given a bit of a workout by Brett Kamali around the throat. And the two of them exchanged Christmas cards afterwards as well. Here's a kick looking for the sideline. Well, Peachey got back there. Almost put a boot on the line when he picked it up. He's cool and calm as ever. He runs across the face of him. Give it to Reek. He got away from the Hodges tackle. He can go. So can Minicello, though. He picked him up from behind, but he had to. Matthew Reek and Mota. Stevens, as they come to the right-hand side. They've got a 6-on-2. Kamali got inside Byrne. Fitzgibbon got the man to make the tackle. So did Byrne on Bailey, who was backing up Kamali. They come back to the right-hand side. They must score. Graham held onto it, but they were offside.
No. Back off. There's the mark.
Treaster will tap it. They come at them quickly again. Here's Stevens. He popped the ball out the back. They have to find a way across the line here somewhere. Here's Beattie. He'll get there. He's pretty fired up as well. He gave Mander a serve after he placed the ball down. And after so many chances, they finally cracked them in this second half to make it 30 points to 10.
Well, the Roosters have frustrated the Sharks here tonight. On this occasion, too many penalties. They just couldn't hang on. Again, an offload, and Beattie, a left foot step, and strength and determination busting through the tackle of Ricketson.
Laurie, one thing the Sharks haven't been able to do tonight is offload the ball just like that. Second phase play, it gives them an opportunity. Nick Graham picks that ball up. Chris Beattie, not much to beat there. He sees the line, he scores a try, but the Roosters defence up till now has been absolutely superb. They're screaming defence, they've covered for each other. Everyone is putting their workload in.
Kamali with the conversion attempts adds the extra 2. They close that gap to within 18. Still 10 minutes left. We've seen teams come back from similar margins with similar time frames left, but you gather not tonight. Let's go downstairs to Andy Raymond.
And the news just gets worse for the Sharks. Matthew Johns has been off the field for some time now. He won't be back. He's torn his calf muscle. They're going to reassess him early in the week, but he is looking a doubtful starter for next weekend's first round of semi-finals. A warning to the big boys for the Sharks. Chris Beattie and Jason Stevens are letting their frustrations boil over. It's time for cool heads. They don't want to be missing come semi-final time. And a wrap for Chris Flannery tonight for a second rower and centre who's in the unaccustomed position of fullback tonight. His positional play I think, has been outstanding.
He's just done a super job. He's been rock solid at the back, hasn't made a mistake. He has threatened a couple of times with the ball as well. Very much a Luke Phillips role, sniffing in around the ruck, looking to back up the likes of Fletcher and also Fittler. Here's Bailey now as they come down the short side.
Laurie, looking at the Roosters over the last, say, 4 or 5 years, the biggest difference in the Roosters under, say, Graham Murray and Phil Gould before that is the defence. And I think it really reflects the coach and Ricky Stewart. He's got them going in. There's a lot more, they go on with the tackle. There's a lot more intimidating. They really go up in the line.
They do, Terry. They show a lot of aggression in their defensive line, and with the rule change this year about being dominant, the teams with the best defence are usually the ones that push off their line and go forward. It's pretty hard to be in the dominant tackle if you're playing a hold and slide defence. The attacking team can usually bust through the line. There's a penalty here for back chat. Dave Peach, I think Tim Mander's had enough, but he's done a fantastic job, Ricky Stewart. The Roosters will finish in 4th position. And one of the things they do really well as a defensive line, they really target the opposition playmakers. They put them under a lot of pressure. They don't hold back. They cut down their time and space. And it frustrates this team. And especially when you're playing a team like the Sharks with Brett Kamali, just a dominant player, loves to get his hands on the football. You've just got to take him out as much as possible, frustrate him. And that's what the Roosters have done really well here tonight.
Time back on as the Roosters tap it and take it inside the Sharks 30. They've scored 4 tries already in the second half. Still plenty of time to add at least another as Wing had Kalis outside him. He changed the angle, stepped away from the Beattie tackle. He's got away from Graham as well. Here's Robinson at dummy half. Cusack taking them on. They swing him to ground. Get the staff there with the help of Chris Beattie. And now Wing. Here's Fittler changing the angle. Here's Flannery playing at Graham. Stepped out of his tackle almost, got it to Robinson. Now Fitzgibbon had it poised there in that left arm, but couldn't get it away. And 9 metres out, 2 tackles left. Fittler, delayed pass, came to Kalis and was running that line between the front rowers, but it closed. And now Benetti, counting the numbers, comes back to the left-hand side. Wing puts the kick in. It was too big. They were looking for a repeat set of 6, but they won't get it.
Again, though, just too shallow. When you're playing a defensive line that gets up hard, you've got to give yourself a little bit of depth, especially when you're on the goal line. Just makes it too easy for the defensive line. If Wing had been a little bit deeper, his support players would have been back. He would have had a perfect opportunity just to slide the kick in behind the line and maybe get the extra set of 6.
Bickerstaff taking it up for the Sharks, just outside their 30. Less than 7 left now as Graham comes to Fronze. And to Hodges. He might regret doing so, but they dragged him back about 8 metres. Trista from dummy half. Well, Robinson was neither a marker nor back to 10. Kamali coming across the park. Looking to link up with these numbers on the right-hand side. They've got numbers again. Here's McKenna, and once again, Todd Byrne wraps him up, and unlucky not to take him across the sideline. His defence has been first-rate. Kamali ran in behind Greek Bird there, put a kick in, charged down by David Kidwell. He tried to get away from Peachy. He still might. And the Peach dragged him down from behind. Benetti from dummy half going quickly. Taken by Kamali now. Great work from Kidwell to come up with the charge down and also get the bounce. Mullins, the wing was coming back on the inside. He missed it, but Mullins won as he cleans up his own work. Pens away from Graham, still there alive with it. Get the sense he's enjoying his work suddenly out there. He found a home of the Roosters this year. Wing looking one way, coming back on the inside for Cusack. He's lost the ball here. Trista has come up with it. Tim Mander says it was a one-on-one strip.
Well, I think the other thing with the Roosters too is their aggressive defence. But they're coming up in a line. The Sharks play flat, and the Roosters are there to meet them, so they go sideways, and the Roosters are still there to meet them. They have to come up with every answer when the Sharks have got the ball and they're trying to assault the defensive line.
Mellor tackled inside his own 40. Stevens. It'll be very interesting to see how he comes up from this thumb injury. You would think, having completed the game tonight, he would have to play next week, but it'll be so much different when that thumb cools down tomorrow. The pass from Kamali was forward. Bickerstaff was out there running into a hole for him. No doubt he fired that one forward.
That one was forward, Warren, and that's been their best play all night, going down that left-hand edge, but they haven't done it enough. They've done it about 3 times in the game, and each time they've looked very dangerous.
Here's Minicello. He's midfield just outside the 20. Sloppy play the ball. Fitzgibbon picks it up, and now Tim Mander says that'll be a knock-on against the Roosters.
Just lost control, yeah.
Matthew Johns back on the bench. We heard from Andy Raymond that he has a calf muscle strain, and his participation next week and ongoing after that will have to be severely in doubt now. And of course, now they'll finish up in 5th place with the Sharks, while not necessarily in sudden death, find themselves in a position where they certainly could be bundled out of the finals in week 1. The Roosters suffered that fate last year at the hands of Newcastle in a 3 versus 6 battle up there at what was Marathon Stadium. 3 versus 6 this year will be the Broncos v Parramatta up at ANZ Stadium next weekend. We know 4 versus 5 will be these two sides again, but at a different venue, Aussie Stadium. The Roosters with home ground advantage there. And what happens tomorrow will decide the rest. Here's Bickerstaff.
That's a great tackle by the Roosters. Minicello having a wonderful game.
Going quickly. Got away from the wing tackle. Still going. He stepped past Flannery, but it will be too late for the Sharks. Of course, looking for Dally M points himself. I don't think he'll get any tonight, but with a couple of minutes left, They've narrowed that gap to 14 with a kick to come.
No, great individual try there by Brett Kamali on the back of a quick play the ball. And when they've had quick play the balls tonight, the Sharks, they've just gone one ruck too many. After a quick play the ball, Kamali hasn't been able to get involved. They've just taken it one up, and then when they've looked to go wide, the Roosters have been set, they've been jamming them in defence. That time, quick play the ball, Kamali on the advantage line, going forward. The defence couldn't handle it.
He's a great player, Brett Kamali, but kids don't hold that ball in one hand. He's got enough hands to do that. But the Sharks not giving in, but really the Roosters, where do they go to from here for next week? The Roosters have to maintain that intensity, particularly in the defence. And the Sharks are just going to wipe the slate clean and start again.
Hasn't been a big enough loss for them to be unable to come back. I would think the Roosters will go into next week's game with very much the upper hand.
They'll get a tremendous amount of confidence from this game, the Roosters. I know the scoreline is only 12 points the difference at the moment, but they have been the dominant team throughout the 80 minutes. Defensively, they've just been very strong, as we've mentioned, just putting pressure on the Sharks. And the Sharks, they will review this video. They will go into the game confident. You've got to remember in round 21 at the football stadium, they did defeat the Roosters.
Well, they'll be hoping to turn the clock back to round 21 next week. Here's Kamali again on a short side raid.
10 minutes in.
He almost fired it down the tunnel across the sideline.
Right there, Brad.
Things haven't happened for the number 7 tonight. The crowd tonight, 20,380, and the vast majority of them go home disappointed. That's an enormous crowd, though, here at Toyota Park. That is pretty much bursting at the seams, you would figure.
The crowds have been healthy out at the showground last night. There was 16,500 over at Ericsson Stadium with the Warriors West Tigers game was 16,500. So the crowds have really improved coming up close to the semi-finals.
Roll off.
Here's Flannery, just slowing it down with only 30 seconds left in the game. Fittler to Robinson. Oh, good ball out the back. Dropped by Wing, picked up by Peachy. Now here's Kamali. Mellor needed to catch and pass. He did so to McKenna. The pass was okay, and now he stays alive until he's swung to ground by Fitzgibbon. Treester on perhaps the last play of the game. Stevens thought about throwing it right across the top of them, but that will do it here. The siren will sound, and it will be the Roosters playing at home in week 1 of the 2002 Telstra Premiership Finals after beating the Sharks 30 points to 18 tonight.